So I'm talking about how fairness, the commitment to fairness, equality, reason, how those things grew in my life. And I'm relating it back to a story from Scranton that I was reminded about today, about the day my grade school. I went to James Madison Elementary School back in Scranton in the day, and the day our school merged with the Washington School. And the Washington School had a fair number of African American students, and it really brought this merging of interests and socioeconomic, racial diversity. And what I remember, for one thing, I really remember about that day or that scenario is the playground, how alive it became. And I am a real subscriber to the notion, not in some political statement, but what I learned and began to learn at that point was that diversity really is a great educator. And, the sports and all kinds of situations got really energized with that merger of the schools. And it's something that, as I say, it's fourth grade, something I remember well to this day. And my folks my father, Maury, was involved in civil rights. My mom, Sandra, did a lot of encouraging that sense of fairness at the time. And so it wasn't really till, I got thrust into the divorce system in Massachusetts many years later that collision between, fairness and the way our systems are operating now, especially in ways, our legal system, where I've spent a lot of time developing an understanding of emotional distress, emotional abuse. And there was this collision between, the civil rights notions that my father had brought forth, the sense of fairness as attorneys that I understood it in Scranton, and then divorce law in Massachusetts. You couldn't have things that were more opposite. And because I had a real sense of fairness, hidden within me like that little nut, the acorn that grew into a mighty oak, there was enough in me, and I had enough care for my children that I said, I'm going to really dig in and appropriately take this on. Because, there were a lot of things being done that were harmful to my children or could have been harmful to my children and were unfair in general. And out of that, I just saw how society was operating unfairly. And so I really dug in. And because I had a lot of extraneous forces around, people came against me who should not have. A younger brother, David, and his wife, Naomi, incited this whole thing against me, and all this avalanche came at me. It just gave me, while on one hand it was a challenge, on the other hand it was an opportunity. And it gave me this opportunity to dig in and to see how American systems are unaligned with our ideals of liberty and equality, justice for all. And it gave me this opportunity to stand in for 29 years to appropriately take it on, and also in the course grow many things out of that, many commitments, and evolving out in fairness, and my whole sense of emotional, advancing understandings of emotional distress, for one, and then in my gentle genius coaching and the coaching training and mediation I do for companies, families, and individuals, helping people understand how to take an appropriate stand. But, it goes back in some ways to that, my upbringing in Scranton, to, the day our schools merged, and then seeing how compromised some of our equalities and, our systems are acting unfairly. And it gave me this opportunity to dig in. Like they say, the mighty oak was once a little nut that dug in and held its ground. And to dig in and really expand fairness into the world. That's what my life's about. That's what our Gentle Genius coaching, training, and mediation is about. You could take a look at the website. And, it's both the roots and then that opportunity, that collision, when huge challenges came, to turn them into opportunities.
Our unity as children need guide us now.